Hello and welcome. Kerry here I got my shirt on, Healing Humanity, Power of a Proper Human Diet. I got Aaron from the Kilby Life. How's it going, buddy?
I'm doing well. Doing well.
Man, it's nice to see you. I have been binging your content lately, your 60-day challenge you've been watching. My wife and I have been really enjoying it. I think I mentioned to you on the email.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I think we have a similar sense of humor or something. My wife's like, this dude is just like you. His jokes and wandering around the house, like kind of mumbling to yourself and talking to yourself. I'm like, I'm there. I do it all the time. So I've been looking forward to chat with you.
So you need counseling also, huh?
Very much so. Yeah. We this is it right now. This is the counseling. I was going to get into it and ask you some questions, see if we could figure some of this stuff out together. But looking forward to chatting with you. We got a bunch of people on already. Hey, if you guys have a question for me or Aaron, please post it in the sidebar. And yeah, maybe we'll just jump right into it. I know, Aaron, you came on. I'm trying to remember because it was kind of a blur, but I think it was the 10-hour live stream that we did a long time ago.
Yeah, I did the 10-hour one, and I came in at like rapid fire, at the lightning round. So I was like, okay, it was time to go. But it was good.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't organize that thing well at all. It was crazy. I'm like, yeah, everyone just come in. And then we're like, whoa, this is kind of nuts. There's more people than we can handle. Then we did the 24-hour one, which is a little bit more organized. But
yeah, I was able to sit in chat and hang out that way, that one. So that was good.
Good stuff. Aaron, I think I know the answer, but where are you from?
I am originally from Washington State, Spokane, Washington, but I live in Ohio, Dayton, Ohio now.
Yeah, my buddy Adam, who's helping me with this documentary,
he lives here also.
Yeah, you guys are like neighbors or something. He's the same city. So, all right. So, yeah, I was looking forward to chatting with you more, learning more about your story. I've been watching a bunch of your videos.
Mm-hmm.
I guess maybe I'll start out with the general question. We don't have to talk about only carnivore, but how did you find carnivore? I know you're coming up on today's day 699, tomorrow's day 700.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I'm half where you are. I'm almost coming up on 1 year. So, yeah, how did you find carnivore?
Just the usual, get on YouTube and just looking at low carb diets. And I came across Dante Ferrigno right off the bat, and I was like, well, this guy he's got some change going. You can eat only meat, because I've heard you tell that story. I was like, okay, he can only eat meat and not die. Okay. Right. I saw that, and then I saw, just Dr. Peterson was talking about it, and it happened just I was just having problems with my doctor, and I got online, and I Googled like type 2 diabetes, is it curable? And like that kind of stuff came up, the low carb diet. So I just started doing some research on YouTube.
Was your type 2 diabetes pretty bad?
No, I mean, the highest my A1C got was 6.6. I brought up the numbers over here so I wouldn't catch myself lying, but yeah, 6.6. But I had pre-diabetes for quite a while, and my doctor never even said anything. But yeah, I mean, it got up to 6.6, and they said, "Oh, you have type 2 diabetes," and that's when I started doing the research.
Right. Did you ever do any other diets before this, like keto or calories? Or
I mean, I'm pretty lazy. I mean, I'm innovative. So I try to make up my own diets, and it's like I tried keto, but keto was complicated because you had to like check all your fat macros, and like that's exhausting. So keto to me was just staying away carbs and sugars, and so I tried that, but it was easy to go to the Chipotle after work and then just mound it up, and it was too free. It wasn't restricting enough for me. And then I did a diet where I allowed myself to eat only fruits and nuts for breakfast and lunch.
Ooh.
And then I could have whatever I want for dinner. And I lost some weight in that, but then I ended up felt like I was starving to death all the time. And so I've made up some diets and tried it, but like would always get off the diet.
Yeah. Yeah. Keto. It's crazy to me now that I'm a carnivore. And you still hear like doctors or people saying, "Oh, keto, I don't know about that. That's dangerous." I'm like,
yeah,
you kidding me? Like salad and low carb vegetables and a little bit of protein's dangerous? Like, what? You should see what I'm doing now if you think that's dangerous. But yeah, I did the same thing. And the thing that messed me up with keto was all those keto snacks. But I go to Chipotle, like you said too. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't bad, if I stick with the meat. But then you start mounding everything onto it. And you're like, a couple taco shells. What are those, like 10, 15 carbs? Got some fiber in there. I'd always end up overdoing it. That's the thing I think that's awesome with carnivore is it's the only thing I've ever done where I'm like, wow, this is just natural. I'm not even thinking about it, counting macros, trying to calculate things out. I'm not forcing myself. I don't feel starved. Seems pretty just normal for me.
I call it no guilt eating.
Right.
Even though I've experimented and I'm experimenting with counting, paying attention to exactly what I'm eating, but on carnivore, it's not that difficult. It's like easy. So, but I'm just doing it as an experiment because I've been on it 2 years and I'm, trying to pursue health and try to be as healthy as I can and just see what my body needs and those types of things. I'm having fun with it is what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So what sort of results are you seeing, I guess, for people that aren't familiar with your story in terms of your type 2 diabetes, weight loss, any other changes you've noticed?
Well, I mean, my diabetes, I've got my A1C down to 6 or 5.7, which is, if it's 5.6, it would be not pre-diabetic. And for some reason, I can't get it lower than that. That being said, they do an estimated total. And I've heard that your blood cells live longer on a carnivore diet because they're not dying all the time. So you might have a higher tick. And I'm not sure why it hasn't been lower, but essentially I'm pretty much not pre-diabetic or diabetic within 90 days. Because it was in April. No, I look at these numbers, August, December. Yeah. Within 90 days, I was at 5.7 and I've stayed there for the next year and a half. And so I got rid of my diabetes right off the bat. I snored like crazy. So I probably had sleep apnea. I wasn't like diagnosed with it or anything, but I was able to take care of that. I was able to have energy, the exercise. I'm almost up to 60 pounds total lost. And that's with working out all the time. So maybe it was more, I don't know. But,
right.
Some of the things that always stuck out to me that were monumental was when I was able just to put my shoes on without sitting down and being out of breath. Or when I, can get on the ground and work on a car, I'm rolling around the ground. And I was able to do that. I bought a smaller car because I could fit in one now. I could.
Nice.
I'm just trying to think offhand some of the freedom I got. Oh, and I jumped up on something and I grabbed it, and I was pulling myself. I was like, I'm doing pull-ups. I could barely even climb a rope when I was in high school. I'm like, what is happening to me? I just started getting stronger and healthier, and I'm like a kid again. I've seen you do some of that stuff you're doing. Jazzercising out on the farm.
Right. Yeah. Start getting stupid and start doing stunts and stuff like that. I saw you were, I don't remember when this video was, but you were carrying around a 35-pound weight.
Okay.
And you were like, yeah, I think at that time you had just lost it or something. You're like, oh, I was carrying, this is heavy.
Oh, yeah.
And that was on my body before. When you do it that way, you're like, wow, 60 pounds. That's almost 2 of those things. That's crazy when you think about it that way.
Like, how many gallons of milk is that?
Yeah. Someone on my channel the other day, they're like, oh, 60 pounds. That's 6 10-pound bowling balls you're not carrying around anymore. I'm like, wow, when you put it that way, that's pretty crazy.
I mean, it's some days it seems like a huge feat. Like, it was just, I can't believe I did. And other days I'm like, it doesn't seem like a lot compared to some of the things I see people struggling with in life. I'm like, 60 pounds is nothing.
Right.
Compared to what some people struggle with. But it's also not nothing because I did it and I didn't think I could do it. I wanted to do it. I didn't know how to do it. And I finally did it. And I'm like, it's still blowing me away 2 years in.
I mean, and I've lost weight before this, and it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my entire life. So now it's like, but when I lost it before, though, like years ago, I was always like, I have this one picture where my wife and we had lost a bunch of weight doing keto, and we were doing like P90X and exercising, and I wasn't as small, or I haven't lost as much as I did now, but I remember saying back then, I'm like, I'm never going to gain this weight back.
Mm.
It was like 3 months later, gained it all back and then some, and just yo-yoed over and over again. But yeah, that's one of the things I was going to ask you, with you being on this thing for like 700 days. Does it get to a point where it seems like the human brain, we get to this point where things become normal and then we start taking it for granted?
Yeah.
And I don't, has that happened for you at all, where you're just like, yeah, this is just, I feel great. I could jump up and pull myself up like nothing, and that's your new normal now?
It has become normal, but I still wrestle. I still wrestle, and I've dipped my toe in out of it, but then it's like I pull it back out. It's like I don't even want to go there, because I don't want to go down that spiral like I've done on other diets before, where you get hungry and next thing you know, all that hard work that took you 6 months is done within a month or two.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that, but I've noticed on the carnivore diet, specifically when I was on this diet, I haven't been starving. I'm kind of hungry now because I'm kind of limited some of my food as an experiment, but I'm not starving and I'm not lacking nutrition. So I feel good. And then limiting it to just meat really, like, I think it like just gave me the discipline to pay attention to exactly what I was putting into my mouth. Because you like grab something, you're like, well, hold on, what are you doing? Why am I eating that? Where did that come from? So I challenged all my addictions and all my habits, and then I remember just going through life. I'm walking down, I'm feeling good, I'm running up hills, and then I see a commercial for Domino's, and I'm getting ticked off at the world. Like, that's not real food, man.
Right.
That's not food. That's doing nothing for you.
Yeah.
I ate a whole pizza. Cool. I crushed it. And then I feel like crap. I got diabetes. Now I'm eating like giant steaks. People think I'm going to die, but like literally I can outwork you. I don't get it. Something was wrong. So once you go through that, I feel like I can't go back.
Right.
Even if I want to, in my mind, it's like, dude, you can't. I can give up in my mind, but I can in real life. And I thought I was going to be healed within 30 days. I'm coming up on 2 and I'm still not totally healed. I still got health to pursue, but the health that I found was way better than what I was expecting.
Right. Wow. Yeah, for me too. The Domino's or just walking around in the grocery store now gets me fired up. I'm like, this is just all garbage, waste. I was poisoning myself. I'm like, I'm trying not to be dramatic, but I think it really was a slow poison, especially with that sugar. But my biggest thing for me was I just had horrible depression, anxiety for many, many years. I was on so much medication for that. And this is the only thing that's fixed it. When I did keto, it helped it a little bit, but that's kind of my big why. I am terrified to fall off the wagon because I don't want to go back to that depression, anxiety, sort of mental health issues. I was going to be a question I had for you too. I had horrible, besides the depression and anxiety, I had the worst brain fog. And I used to think it was because I'm a dad. I have triplets plus one. I got 4 girls. Okay. And you have more children than I do. Can you tell the audience, I guess, what's your situation going on there?
That could be a long story. So I also have 4 girls.
Plus.
But I also have 4 boys.
Wow.
And only one, I have a set of twins in there of boys, but not triplets. So I have a lot of kids.
Yeah. Wow. I was gonna ask you if you had any twins or triplets. I know you had the 8 kids.
One set, yeah.
What a blessing.
I always say we're doing pretty good for a couple that were told by a doctor that we couldn't have kids.
Yeah, I'd say so. You proved them wrong. Those doctors are so wrong about everything. It's like everything they say, it's the opposite.
Yeah, but you're talking about brain fog.
Yeah, I had the horrible brain fog before, and I thought I'm just tired. I'm working. I got all these kids. We got triplets running around. I can't keep track of things. But on carnivore, it cleared, and I noticed it cleared. But then I noticed, like, whoa, it was way worse than I even pictured. And someone said to me, and this sticks with me, they're like, you don't see the fog while you're in the fog. And I'm like, ooh, that's a good one. And so it feels like on carnivore now, I'm thinking a lot more clearly, like my cognitive ability to just find words. I used to be like to the girls, I'd be like, go empty the thing with the water, and it's like every single thing. It was like a game of charades, like I was a stroke victim or something and they're like, what are you saying, Dad? Just like, could you write it down on a piece of paper? Like, what's wrong with you? I don't have that anymore. So I hear other people say that. Have you had any issues with brain fog or noticing any cognitive changes on carnivore?
Well, in preparation for this, I started watching back one of my old videos because it's been a while. And I'm like, okay, was like, my brain fog is lifting, but I don't remember what it's like to be that guy. So right now, I really don't know. I still have a problem coming up with words, but in the video, I was like, I'm thinking of things faster. My brain's working faster. And so I came out of the fog. And I'm not like a big wordsmith. I don't have a silver tongue. That's not my gift. I stutter and stuff like that. And because I'm distracted and I'm going 3 ways at the same time. But I feel like I can focus better.
Yeah.
But I just don't remember what it's like as much. But that's why I watched that. I was like, oh yeah, it was worse.
Right. Yeah, maybe it's one of those things too. It just drives me nuts with humans. We're doing the healing humanity thing, and I was talking to someone the other day, and I'm like, does humanity need healing? Well, I think, yeah, they do, because of obesity, diabetes, cancer rates, all of these issues. But if you ignore all of that, I feel like when I was on the standard American diet, eating a bunch of sugar and junk food, I had the brain fog, but I was also so fatigued and tired, I think, just because I was putting the wrong fuel in. And it was like I would just go along to get along. I'd do the bare minimum. Of course, I love my children. I want to spend time with them, but I'm like, I'll go outside and kick the soccer ball around. Now I can barely stand up. Like, I'm so tired and exhausted. So that was kind of one of my recent carnivore epiphanies. It's like I feel like most people on the standard American diet, they're kind of just dragging. They're like getting busy dying, doing the bare minimum, riding the couch, just trying to get through the day. And it's really no way to live.
Yeah, my big epiphany with that was like, I thought I was getting old, but I was getting sick. And I'm still getting old. I'll be 46 this year, but it's like, but I'm stronger now than I was 10, 15 years ago. And my son's like, let's catch the ball. I'm like, I could do it. I injured my shoulder, but that's healing. But I was like, yeah. And it's like, challenge accepted. You think you're going to outwork me? Don't think so.
Right. Come on, son.
Let's go. And which is a beautiful thing. Because part of the reason that I did this diet in the first place is because it was the most extreme. Because I needed help. I was scared that I had diabetes, and then I had high blood pressure on top of that. And I just knew, like, I didn't know a lot about health. I know that you put those things together and it is not good. So I was scared because I have a wife and 8 kids that I need to be around for and I want to be around for. And then you just get a sense like, what if I'm just headed towards the grave?
Right.
I need to do something extreme. And then I did something extreme that I realized, no, it's not that extreme. It was just eating normal food.
Right.
Trash.
Isn't that the craziest thing with this too? Because I see loved ones, you probably see this too, extended family that are just suffering so bad. And you're like, it's just the food you're eating. And then they'll say to me, maybe to you too, I could never do what you're doing. You're crazy with carnivore. And I get it, because I kind of thought that in the beginning, but now that I'm doing it, I'm like, this is like one of the easiest things. I'm eating steaks and I'm feeling great. Like it's so much easier than I ever would have thought. Like the only diet I've ever done where I'm not thinking about it, calculating things, starving myself. But everyone I talk to, they're just like, I could never do what you're doing. And I'm like, it's kind of frustrating because it seems pretty easy after you do it for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I see that with my own mother. I was just talking to her recently. She's got diverticulitis, and she's going to the doctor, and she's have all these symptoms, and then she's having thyroid problems. It's hypo, and it's hyper, and then it's hypo because they have her on the wrong medication. It's up and down. She's gaining weight. She's losing weight. I'm like, Mom, I'm on YouTube telling people about the carnivore diet all the time. Like, it literally will help all these things. It's like, stop eating salad. Eat some meat.
Right.
I will buy you hamburger and ship it out there. I don't care. It's like, at least try it for a while, because you think you can't. But once you start getting some of your health back, you're not going to be able to stop, because you're becoming a different person, and the sickness that you have. I'm not saying it's going to fix everything, but you don't know how well you can be and what's holding you down. And to have new hope when you're middle age or older, in your 60s or whatever, that's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah. That's been one of the things that's really surprised me and put a big smile on my face. I've been getting lots of comments on some of the videos I've been doing, and so many from folks that are in their 60s, 70s, even 80s that are just thriving on carnivore. And I'm like, I could never imagine being like 70 or 80 and being like, yep, I'm going to just toss all that behind. I'm going to just start eating meat only. But there's a lot of people doing it. And it's crazy. They're like, all of my peers have these mobility issues and these aches and pains and ailments, and they're going around on the walker. And I'm like, I'm just fine. It's just inflammation. So much of it's just inflammation, arthritis from the foods we're eating.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the next question I had for you, you're doing this 60-day challenge right now. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes.
BBE?
Last year I did a lion diet for 31 days, which I've done lion diet for like almost the first whole year I was on carnivore diet. I played around a little bit with some pork and seafood and stuff, but I did the 31 days. I'm like, what am I going to do this year? And I was like, I'll do lion diet for 31 days. And then right before I was like, never mind. Carnivore Quest is doing some challenge, beef, butter, bacon, eggs for 60 days. And so I'm just eating beef, butter, bacon, and eggs for 60 days. And then for me, I was like, I'm going to film what I'm eating every day.
Right.
Which I can't remember why I'm doing it. Like halfway through it, I'm like, what? Why am I doing this? Why am I tracking my macros and just that kind of stuff? But I've read a book about the macros and stuff like that. If you're lifting weights and things like that, to try to get the protein and fat requirements for your body and figure that out. But ultimately, I was trying to do it for myself as a challenge, gain some strength, some self-discipline, just see how well I can do in it. But then like, how many times it was like, what do you eat in a day? Well, here, I got 60 days of what I ate in a day.
Right.
So it's a tool for me just to send people, this is what I did in a day. This is how much I ate. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm realizing, man, I eat a lot of food.
Right.
I can eat a lot of food to fuel my body. I'm like, I'm eating a lot and I'm still losing weight. I'm like, doesn't even make any sense.
Right. Hey, just quick shout out too. If anyone's watching from my channel, I've got a link to Aaron's channel in the description. Go check it out. I've really been enjoying watching your 60-day challenge. It's funny how you say it, because I've done that too. Like, why am I doing this? The filming part of it, like, I totally feel for you. You're nearing the end of it, right? You got a couple days left.
Yeah, I got 5 days 5 days.
You're probably going to be celebrating like, I don't got to film this anymore, because a lot of people don't realize like it could take a lot of time filming it and editing it. You always do a good job too, because I see like you're editing it. There's not many pauses where there's any downtime. So you must spend a decent amount of time.
My editing software does it automatically. So
oh, nice.
I'm doing the least work possible. And if there's flubs and things are messed up in there, I just leave it in there because it is what it is. I'm just putting myself out there, a real guy, like just doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm really trying to do it. And I got the accountability, and maybe, I don't know, some people are like, I don't have your self-discipline. I was like, I'm not very disciplined. You don't know me. Like, if you know my whole story, no, it's been a lot of work to get here.
I think a lot of carnivores are not self-disciplined, but everyone thinks they are, because I get that too. Oh, I couldn't do it. You're so strict. I couldn't do it. I'm like, I don't know. It's like, it's the not moderating thing or something. I'm either all in or I'm not in at all. Like, I'm not going to just kind of do carnivore and then do a little bit of something else. But yeah, I don't have any self-discipline. It's just.
Well, I find that the way that you get self-discipline is that you wrestle through things. And so I'm literally wrestling on camera in front of people when I'm documenting my story. I'm wrestling. I'm telling you, like, every day I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it every day, but then I think, why don't you want to do it? Just because I don't want to. It doesn't mean I need anything else. It's just because I'm rebellious at heart. I want to fight against the system and the man. And I used to wear, whatever was the craziest metal shirt when I was a kid, and just like, it's part of my personality is fight back. But it's like, but I'm like, no. I'll just eat this food. It's good, nutritious food. Like, hey, let's go to the store and let's hoard some meat. Let's go.
Right. Yeah. My wife, Jen, and I were watching. I saw a couple, like the beginning when you did the challenge, and then I didn't see a whole bunch, to be honest. And then, I don't know, like a week or two ago, we were watching one where you decided, I don't know if this was the first one, but you did the cold plunge outside in the snow. Was that the first?
That was my first cold plunge ever. And I haven't been in it since. It was
and the last
Saturday.
First and the last.
It actually felt good afterwards, but man, Yeah, I was shaking, I was nervous, had all this anxiety, and I just hopped in there. And then I watched that video, and you're like, "That was hilarious." It's like, "I would not recommend."
What? Yeah.
I watched the video back, I'm like, "I'm such a wuss. Come on, I could have at least, like, pretended I was."
Hey, you were not a wuss. I did. So my buddy Jeff, who we're filming for the documentary, he's going through stage 4 cancer. He's awesome. We went to visit him and film him, and he had this whole agenda for us. And he's like, "Oh, day 2, we're doing a cold plunge." I'm like, "We're doing a cold plunge?" Well, I didn't. I'm like, I'm. He's like, "Yeah, you're doing with. It's all paid for. Don't worry about it." I'm like, it's paid for. What are we talking about? Anyways, I did one with him. It was in a bathtub. It was pretty funny, Aaron. You would have liked this. I don't know, our dad humor or whatever, but I hadn't talked to my wife in like a day because we were just filming. And so I just randomly texted her an image of me and Jeff in a bathtub. And then she answered back. She's like, "You need to come home right away." And then I didn't answer her for like 4 hours after that. I got a big kick out of it. But that bathtub was like 50 degrees or something. Long story short, when I got back, my daughter Emma, who's doing carnivore with me, we're like, "Let's go do a cold plunge in the lake down the road." And we had a contest. Emma went in. She lasted like 2 minutes. I went in and I completely wussed out, like on camera. I'm like, "There's no way I'm making it 2 minutes. I'm out. I was like screaming and running out of the water. It was so cold. I think yours was closer to the coldness of the second one I went into because you had snow going outside and everything. I was in a 50-degree bathtub that earlier time, but so
Yeah, it's just one of those things. People do it. You get sold on it. Do I need to do it? Probably not. But I have a high stress life. With my job and having kids. That's one thing. He's like, "You need to stop your stress." I'm like, "Well, I got 8 kids, 14 and below. My life, like, yes, I know I would need to get rid of stress. Like, will this help me with stress?"
right.
Like, I'm trying all the stuff that you should do that help with stress, exercise, prayer, just all these things. And it's like cold plunge. Let's try this. But I don't like cold.
Right. So first time and last time. It was pretty awesome though. Your kids went in afterwards.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah. So hey, there you go. Lead by example.
Right? Yeah. I didn't really do the same thing. In my case, my daughter went in first. I kind of messed that one up.
I'm gonna try it again. I'm gonna try to just get past that mental barrier.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost harder the second time. Here's my excuse too for the second one. Don't do this, Aaron. The second one was a lake, and I just jumped in. And there's actually some really good advice online not to do that because you could go into shock and like
exactly.
So I was kind of foolish. And when I jumped into, my feet sunk into the mud, like a foot into the mud, and they were kind of like suctioned in there. So then I panicked too. So I was just, I completely babied out on that one. But my argument was if I went first, I thought my daughter Emma would be like, "I'm not going at all." We were both going to go at the same time, but we're like, someone should hold the camera and someone should be out of the water in case one of us starts drowning. But
fair enough.
Yeah, I don't have any plans for any more cold plunges anytime soon. But So speaking of like your kids and your family, are you the only carnivore? You got anyone else on board with you, or how's that going?
That's been fun. I've changed my entire family's life. Now they don't eat strict or anything, but my wife has done multiple challenges. She did carnivore for 30 days and then got off, did 30 days, another one. And then she did like lion diet strictly for elimination diet. And my wife has lost 60 pounds.
Wow.
And she's mostly eating beef and cabbage right now. She likes her cabbage. Okay. Cooked cabbage with the beef. And she just goes to it. None of my kids are strict carnivores, but when I cook on Sundays, I'm usually doing carnivore meals and stuff like that. So we've been doing small changes, like replacing certain things with other things and trying to do the best for our kids without being too extreme because, we start like, we need to eat this. And some of my older kids are like, "I hate this.
Right.
Why are you making us do this? Like, I miss our old life." And
Yes.
so it's like, so I'm trying to be sneaky and just like a little bit here and a little bit here. Cause I don't want the pendulum to swing. And then once they get out on my roof, like I'll go all the way this other way and just rebel. Well, they can do whatever they want, but as a parent, it's a very difficult thing to go through. I didn't realize how difficult it was. So I'm trying to lead by example the best I can, and it has impacted my family in ways that I'm forever grateful.
Yeah, that's great.
Mhm.
It's so tough. I ran into the same thing with my kids. My daughter Emma's pretty strict carnivore. The other ones have tested. One of them said similar, I kind of to your thoughts was one of them said to me, she's like, "Well, when you were my age, you didn't have to eat all this. You could just do whatever you wanted to." And I'm like, "True."
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to do the same thing, baby, sort of take baby steps because yeah, you push them too far, and I worry too they're going to move out and they're going to be like, let's switch everything that we just learned. My thing is, it's good that they're getting this as kind of a tool. They could definitely see what it's done for me, and if they ever get, God forbid, depression, anxiety, or some of those other things, they have it sort of as a tool in their toolbox. But my other daughter's pretty much keto, so yeah, they're all experimenting. Even at just keto, they're eating way better than they
Yeah.
were before, for sure. So
And I like that. It's a tool also.
right. So 700 days, that's crazy. What are some, if you could go back like to the beginning, is there any advice you'd give yourself? Like, man, if I only I would have known what I know now, if I could tell my former self.
Uh, Maybe, I don't know. If I told myself I'd be almost 700 days in, I probably wouldn't have done it. Just the way I was thinking then, because I thought I was going to be healed way quicker and just be able to go back to like eating what a normal person would eat in moderation. Because I had his mindset as like I looked at food as a certain way, but now I look at food differently.
Mhm.
I don't know. Just hey, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard work,
Right.
but you'll find the motivation and the hope along the way. So just don't give up. Don't
Right.
I just don't give up. And so I'm telling myself that now. But I don't know. That's a tough question because I'm scared what I would tell myself.
What keeps you going? You're doing all of these videos,
Mhm.
definitely inspiring a lot of people, but what keeps you so passionate to keep not only doing this for yourself, but documenting it and sharing it for other people?
Well, I fell into it accidentally because I filmed just my family, the things we did as like be a good dad. I picture myself as an 80s dad with a camcorder, like, hey, let's film the kids, put the camera in their face. We'll love these memories when we look back
Right.
at them. And then I just started to share my story because I was like, I'll just document this. And then I came out with that first video of my 90-day video, and people watched it and it resonated. I'm like, and it just resonated with me as like, man, like I don't want to give up on myself. I don't want to give up on these people that are rooting for me and it's all these people that are like suffering and just having a hard time. They're like, well, this is encouraging, or this is my story. I've learned this, and I just haven't given up. It's one of good accountability for me, but it's also just a way for me to give back.
Right.
And in me just sharing my story, it's not a burden. Most of the
Right.
time. Sometimes it feels like it is, but I don't know. Sometimes I ask myself, why am I still doing it?
Right.
Why am I still doing it? Because it's a lot of extra effort. I don't have to do it, but it just my life has been changed that much that I'm hoping other people will just kind of hold on to it and see where they're gonna go.
Yeah.
And I was saying this in a video the other day. If I can inspire someone to take one step and they see hope or change in their life through a carnivore diet or whatever, they don't need me anymore. They're just going to go on their way.
Right.
Because they take that one step, they get some hope, they get some healing. Listen, I'm just in your way. You're going to surpass me. You're done. You don't need me. But if I just want to see people take those steps and then go. And the next thing you know, it's like, yeah, you inspired me a year ago and I lost all this weight. I was like, what? And then literally this happened in my life. I go to the church and I have a friend I've known for 15 years. And we went to a small church together. Now we're in a bigger church. And I rarely see him. And I walked up and I was like, dude, I was like, you lost a bunch of weight. He's like, yeah. I was like, what did you do? And I thought he was going to say something stupid.
Ozempic.
Yeah. I was like, he's like, let's talk later. But he's like, I went on the carnivore diet. I'm like, you went on the carnivore diet and you didn't tell me? Like, yeah, I wanted to surprise you.
Wow.
And I saw him. I was like, are you kidding me? You've been on the carnivore diet for what, 4 or 5 months? You lost all this weight. I'm like, he's doing better than ever. And I'm like, I inspired my friend.
Wow.
And he hid it from me. He hid it from me to show me. And I was like, that is one of the coolest things. So when stuff like that happens, it's hard. I'm a different person now.
Yeah.
That's why. I guess that was long-winded, but just
no, it's a great answer. I was going to say too, if you ever get discouraged, just start sorting through all of your comments you're getting, because I've seen comments on your videos too of how you're inspiring people. Yeah. And think of all the people that aren't leaving comments. Like your friend didn't even tell you. There's people out there that watched your video months ago. They don't even remember who you are, but now they've lost a bunch of weight and
that one guy
change your life forever.
That one guy that looks like Chris Pratt,
right? Yeah.
Get that call.
What was his name? Yeah. That's crazy. It's kind of interesting you say that. My younger sister, it's weird with me. Like, my mom started carnivore way back when I first started, like a month after. She's still carnivore. My stepdad is. They've lost a bunch of weight. They absolutely love Dr. Chafee. They have a book. And he didn't even write it. Someone wrote it and they acted like it was Dr. Chafee. And they were like posting it on Instagram. And I'm like, that's not even his book. But yeah, they don't care about their son too much. They like Bill Knott out in Alaska. They like Dr. Chafee. But my older sister started and she was doing really good. And then long story short, my younger sister, same story as you. I don't know necessarily because of me, but I was like 5 months into it. She told me she was doing carnivore. I was like, why didn't you tell me before? Like, what is going on? She's like, I didn't know if I'd stick to it. So I didn't really kind of want to tell you, but it's crazy how it spreads like that too. So the guy that you got inspired, he's probably going to inspire 3 or 4 other people. And then they're going to go inspire 3 or 4 other people. It's like a crazy ripple effect.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, the people that are suffering, like I see people look healthy and stuff, but I see a lot of people that are suffering. Like, just try it, man.
Yeah. What do you got to lose? Yeah. I did the 30-day update video, and I've been doing homesteading videos for 8 years on YouTube. I was only going to do this one video, and it's similar to you. I had some comments where people were like, oh, you inspired me. And then like a couple months later, I started when I saw your 30-day video now, and I'm no longer depressed. I got a lot of my videos were on depression and mental health issues. So I've got quite a few of those comments. And when someone tells me they were hopeless and now they have hope, I'm like, it turned into like, oh, this is going to be fun. Let's do a YouTube video to, oh, this is kind of important to, oh, this is almost like a responsibility now. Like if I don't share this information with people, like what kind of person am I to kind of hold this back from people sort of thing. And then we decided to do the documentary for the similar reason, just to so many people out there that are hopeless and I don't think they need to be.
Yeah. I mean, I've dealt with depression. I've heard your story and listened to you talk about your depression. Like, I don't think it wasn't that dark for me, but I'm kind of up and down. I'm like always up and down, but going on the carnivore diet, like smoothed me out.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe there's a little bit of ups and downs there, but it was nothing like before.
Right. And
my wife told me that, so I'm not just making that up. So she attests to it.
Right.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I always show people, oh, this is kind of crazy, but these were all my meds.
Yeah.
For everything. But most of those were for depression, anxiety, and none of them helped. That was that was 10 years. So like, let's try this one. Let's up this dosage. But man, the research is coming out on it now too. I'm so fortunate and blessed. I had Dr. Ed on. She's a Harvard trained psychiatrist. She just recently launched this book, Change Your Diet, Change Your Mind. It's incredible. Some of the stories in here, not even just depression, people with soldiers coming back with PTSD, people with schizophrenia, like some severe mental issues, but she's got all the science in this book. It's just, I told her, I'm like, if I would have had this, I'm like, why didn't you write this 20 years ago? Like, what the heck? If I would have just had this, all the answers I was looking for are in that book right there. But
yeah, I was thinking about that earlier too. Like, what took me so long? I remember when I first started the diet, I was like, man, why did I wait so long? Why did it take so long for me to find this? I wish I would have did this when I was younger.
Yeah.
But whenever I think that's, I don't want to say it's foolish thinking, but you can't go back anyway. So you found it when you needed to find it. and now just run with it. Just
Yeah.
it's never too late.
Yeah. Yeah. My only problem I've really had on Carnivore is I thought the same thing, mainly for my children when I was so depressed. I'm like, why is dad sad? Why is dad like a zombie, to change that for them? But yeah, you can't change it. So I just got to do the best going forward. My only issue on Carnivore now is I feel like I'm kind of making up for lost time, and I'm trying to do too much too quick, and still got to have an important balance with the family and the girls and keeping everything balanced out, which I'm getting better at now. But initially on Carnivore, we have all this energy, like you're saying, oh, I can lift myself up. Like, what is going on here? You just got this excess energy, and like, oh, I could do this. I can work on this now. I can go after this sort of thing now. And
I always hear that. Look what I can do. Look what I can do. Like from Superstar or whatever that was from.
Right.
Look what I can do. Yeah, you can do that or whatever.
Right.
I get myself in trouble at work, jumping up on the counter and stuff. And they're like, "What are you doing? You're crazy." I'm like, "Well, can you do it?"
Right. That was, I did a video, I think 3 months into Carnivore. We got like this gazebo thing outside. I used to go out there and I'd have these resistance bands. I would just, that's it. Good exercise, right? But then I looked up and I was like, I think I could do a pull-up on that thing. And I did a pull-up, and then I was like, I think I could climb up on that thing like without a ladder and then invert myself and do push-ups. And it's so stupid. It's like, what am I doing? I'm out here in the woods. Like, if I fall off the thing, I'm gonna break something. And I actually have a video where I was just doing pull-ups and it was wet. I slipped off. I landed like right on my head. So anyways, I kind of learned my lesson. I gotta relax a little bit. Of course, I had to put that on YouTube and share with everyone. They're like, dude, you gotta chill out. But it was that same thing. I was like, I think I could do that. I think I could do that.
Yeah.
Do my own stunts now that I'm a carnivore. So yeah, I love your videos, but I feel like we have the same sense of humor. I don't know if it's because of all the children or what. I find myself wandering around the house sometimes. I talk to myself a lot. I'm filming myself talk to myself. And just some of the things you say just crack me up. So anyone that's watching, I go check out Aaron's videos. It's
I try to get myself in trouble.
Right?
Well, because it's how my brain works. I'm like, I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it, whatever. And then
Right.
I'll ask for forgiveness later.
I caught a little bit of your video before this one, and you had your shirt around your head like a ninja.
Well,
what was that? What spurred that on?
Well, I was just so happy to have bacon and eggs. I don't know. It's still good. I have no idea. Something got in my head, like just like have like comic relief to a video, like put the ninja thing over my head, and then I was like, I'm over here, but I forgot to hit record. So that was actually the second take. So my family's in the background because they came down mid the first one. I was like, oh man. So I hit record again and then did it again. They're like all watching me. It was like, what the heck is wrong with our father? That's my husband right there. Just having fun. Just, using energy and having fun, feeling like a kid and allowing myself the ability to play.
Right. It's awesome.
I'm just not a grumpy old man yet.
I get excited over bacon and eggs too. I don't know if it was your video today or yesterday too. You kind of you inspired me to do something differently.
Okay.
You were making bacon, and I think you said 4 pieces, 6 pieces. I don't know. I'll do 5. Here's my problem, Aaron. Like my daughter Emma, that's carnivore with me. She'd make up bacon, and she'd make up like 4 pieces, and she'd make a huge mess in the kitchen. And then she'd eat the 4 pieces and leave none for me. So I'm like, Emma, she makes it in the air fryer too. I'm like, you can put the whole package of bacon in, just make the whole thing. And then dad'll have some, you're making a big mess anyway. So, but now every time I make bacon, I got that in my head, and I'm eating way too much bacon. Long story short, I got to do you're sitting there compromising with yourself and talking yourself through it. I'm like, I need to just do that. I need to stop with the thing.
Well, I'm on the specific, I'm trying to hit my exact macros. And so, but it's like, I enjoy what I'm eating, which is good, but I don't want to eat too much then, because then I won't be able to eat as much later.
Right.
And which I hate the fact that I'm even doing that, because I've done the no guilt eating, just eat when you're hungry. And I mean, the first year and a half, almost exclusively, I did like a 4-hour eating window. So I'm just experimenting, and I gave myself like the ability to eat breakfast if I feel like it or not.
Right.
And just trying to play with those freedoms that are okay on the diet, because I've done the work, and just see how I feel. If I feel different, or But there's intuitive eating, but I'm also slow.
Right. So in the 700 days, have you had just like a very memorable, incredible carnivore meal that you think back to or you want to recreate ever? Or is it just food is food kind of thing?
That's I mean, that tenderloin that I had the other day that I dipped in butter, that was really good. Because I rarely eat tenderloin because it's lean,
Yeah.
but I ate it and I had a big thing of butter and I was just uh, I had some more last night too because it was so good. I was thinking about it and that was like recent in my mind. But I was slurping the butter. My wife was looking at me like she was going to punch me. It was pretty funny. Should have got that on film. um, I think I bought like a grass fed like once I really got into carnivore early, I got online and started buying the grass fed stuff because we was like grass fed's better. And then I realized how expensive it is for me to eat, 2-pound steaks or whatever. But I bought one of those big cowboy ribeyes,
Oh yeah.
grass fed. I cooked that thing up. Like there is no way I'm gonna eat all this thing. I could have ate 2 of them. I
Nice.
could ate. It was so good. I was like crying. This was so good. And then I can eat a lot of meat. I can eat a lot of meat.
Nice. Yeah. I was at, I just get into these routines where it's just the same thing every single day. But my wife and I were at Costco and I walked by and I've been to Costco a million times. I got a neighbor that's got grass-fed beef and it's really inexpensive, but he's been out lately. So if I'm at Costco, I'll get something. But I was at Costco and I walked by and they weren't tomahawk steaks, but they looked there was basically a ribeye, but it didn't have the long tomahawk, but it was huge. It was 7 pounds for 2 of these. So they were 3.5 pounds each. And I'm like, I've never seen this here before. And I'm giving all these excuses in my head. I'm like, well, if we went out to eat for dinner on date night, I'd pay this. And I ended up buying them and making them. And oh my goodness, it was a mistake because I'm like, I can't afford to be buying these steaks every single time. And I had to slow smoke it in the smoker for like a couple hours because it was so thick. I mean, it was like this thick.
Nice.
That was the most memorable one.
That is actually what I'm going to celebrate the end of this challenge with. Is I'm going to get a big bone, whatever the tomahawk from Costco. They better not be out, man.
Right? I'd never seen them there before. Like I've gotten ribeyes from Costco, I've gotten strip steaks, but this was like legit, and it was soft. Maybe they're testing it out or what. I was almost like, man, I should get another package of these and throw them in the freezer because this might not ever have a chance to get these again.
I really think I guess it's not the most memorable meal, but the thing that I think really impacted me and helped me be very like stricter on my diet was my sous vide machine because I was able to just like grab 3 steaks, throw them in the machine, eat it if I wanted, and then they were just there. It was easy. I knew the food was ready. It was like I didn't have to think about food and like the food like decision fatigue.
Right.
It really helped me just put that to the side when my mind, like, what do I need to eat? It's already taken care of. I don't need to think about it. I don't need to wrestle. But also being like on a carnivore diet, like I could be out in a situation and not be tempted as much because I'm not that. I could be hungry, but I'm not hungry because I'm not lacking nutrition.
Right.
I'm not like depleted, like going on diets and then being depleted, not getting adequate nutrition, and then feeling like trash and hungry. It's a whole different level of hunger.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're saying about not having to think about things. I used to get from Costco, I'd get like a 5-pack of strip steaks. I'd have a lot of butter with them, but I would smoke them all up on Monday. And then I'd smoke them so that they weren't quite done. A little bit more rare than I'd like. And then I just put them in the fridge and then I put them in the air fryer, bring them up to heat. And every day it was like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's done. It's there. It's like 4 minutes in the air fryer or something. Things warmed up and I'm good to go. It's
it's funny how something that seems restrictive and boring is actually freeing.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my goodness. One of the benefits of carnivore for sure, I never anticipated. Like, I'm going into this to lose weight. I'm going to this not to have depression anymore. No, I have all this, like, it's liberating not have, what are we going to eat for dinner? Like all of the ingredients and junk before. It is so nice. So much time saved too.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, should we take some questions from the audience? Got quite a few here. Let's see what we got here. Shout out Michael. Thank you. Gifted 10 HomeSteadHow memberships. That's awesome. Thank you very much. And then we have a couple new members, Rebecca Thomas, Al, and Tony. Thank you so much. Anyone that becomes a member, every penny we get goes 100% towards the documentary. So we really appreciate it. Adam and I just filmed Dr. Barry like 3 weeks ago. And we hooked him up with some of these shirts, and we're like, I don't know if it's the right size or whatever. And his wife Nisha just posted a video today, and he was wearing this very shirt. So we're like, yes,
That's cool.
it's got it. That's pretty awesome. It was pretty surreal meeting him because I found Carnivore the same way as you. Is Dante. I'm like, this guy's insane. And then I watched a million Dr. Barry videos, and like, that guy's my hero. Like, if I could meet anyone in the world, I was thinking about this, probably would have been Dr. Barry. Like, well, movie star, president. No, Dr. Barry. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I really don't know anyone who's changed or helped more people probably than that guy.
Everyone's always like, have you ever heard of Dr. Ken Barry? I was like, yes, I have a tattoo of him. Okay. I got the tattoo.
Right. All right. Let's see here. We got some questions. Did anyone else just feel hungry constantly on the standard American diet? I felt hungry like 30 minutes after every meal.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the sugar. That's the sugar. You get up in the morning and they tell you breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and you'd have some cereal full of sugar, and then an hour later, half hour later, you're hungry again. Even if, when I used to try to eat good on the standard American diet, I'll have an apple. Well, what does it turn into in your body? It turns into sugar, and you're hungry. You're eating a granola bar a half an hour later, and a half an hour later, and then all day you're eating.
Just snacking constantly, trying to curb that appetite.
Yeah. That's why one of the arguments I get, oh, must be nice, Mr. Rich Guy on Carnivore. I could never afford to do that. I'm like, if you did the honest math, like what you're eating on the standard American diet every half hour, every hour, every 2 hours, I don't do any of that. No snacks, no Starbucks, no dessert, no beer, no going out to restaurants, none of that stuff. So if you do the true math, it's not that bad.
No.
Question. I've been on the Carnivore meal plan for 6 weeks. I don't find myself hungry. How many times do you eat a day?
I eat right now as many times as I want to. Well, it would be 3 max, unless I take a road trip and then I have bacon to chew on when I'm going down the road. Just
purse bacon.
Yeah, my merce bacon. I don't find myself hungry. Well, you're not hungry because you got the nutrition you needed. Finally, you will get hungry again, but I would say it depends. For me, it depends on you. Like how you feel. Eat when you're hungry, and then when you're not hungry, then don't eat. Make it that simple.
Yeah.
Then
Yep. Yeah. Speaking of Ken Barry, I love how he says it. Just eat till you're comfortably full, and then that's it. Don't overcomplicate it. I eat twice a day right now, but I always tell people too that ask me that. It's like, if you would have asked me a couple months ago, or you asked me a month from now, it's probably going to be a different answer. I did Lion diet for 60 days. And I was doing 1 meal a day, but for me now, I eat breakfast, usually bacon and eggs, usually way too much bacon. And then around 1 o'clock, I eat again, some ground beef patties or a steak or something. So that's usually it for me. Unless I'm hungry later. Sometimes I'll throw some chicken wings in the air fryer or something if I'm getting a craving later, but well, here's a question. Zach Smith, does anyone know if it's okay for dogs to be on this diet too?
Well, dogs don't need as much fat as humans do. And but yes, it is good. I watched a video today from Carnivore Soldier, just randomly.
Yes.
He's grinding whole chicken thighs with the bones, and he has a whole video on it of like how to feed your dog just that. Because I have a dog that I'm thinking about switching to carnivore because I buy the food and it says it has rice on it and it irritates me.
Oh,
so, like if it's not good for me, it's my dog's a carnivore. Right?
Yes.
So yes.
100%. Shout out Larry Carnivore Soldier. Aaron. So Larry, I watched that video too. I did a video with Larry and I was thinking about getting my dogs on carnivore. This was I think 6 weeks ago, maybe. So he's like, oh, I did this video. I watched it. So I've been feeding my dogs just like Larry does. Chicken thighs through the grinder. It's been amazing. Like it's been amazing. You could totally, they're wagging their tails more. They're like they're just like us. Like, look what I can do now. They're like running around. Their coats are all shiny, prancing around. Yeah. And the thing that messed me up, and I don't want to mess it up for you, Aaron, but Larry sent me this other video, and it was like what they really put in dog food. And I'm like, I can't unring this bell now. I can't unwatch this video he sent me. And I'm like, I'm going to do it now. And the crazy thing that I learned, and Larry said this to me, and I was like, it's kind of the argument against carnivore. Oh, Mr. Rich Guy, how you going to do this? It's comparable, if not cheaper, if you're getting like a medium kind of price dog food, which sounds crazy to me. Like the chicken thighs I got for my dog the first time, they were like 70 cents a pound or something. We stocked up. And it seems like it's such a big pain, but if you have, it is a pain unless you get a meat grinder. I have a meat grinder, and we've gotten it down now. We've been doing it for 6 weeks. The last time Jen and the girls and I did it, we're like, we're going to just go crazy now, because that's the biggest pain in the butt, is getting everything out and making this huge mess. So we're like, let's just do a ton of it in one day. And we got a chest freezer in the garage, and we just filled that thing up, and like, we're good to go for probably like 45 days now. We just bring them out. Dogs eat it. They absolutely love it. And yeah, no more dry dog food. So
I have a guy that I've been coaching that switched his dog to carnivore recently, who was a much older dog, and he said, he's like, my dog's like dying, and he switched to carnivore. He's like, it's like a whole new dog.
Wow.
Just
yeah.
After they go through the transition period where they get diarrhea constantly.
Yeah.
But I've been really. I saw that video today because I saw it popped up. I was like, I need to look into this, because it's been on my list.
Right.
Because it changed my life, and I know the dog. Well, because you go to the store and you buy the dog food, and then you look at the specialty section over here for the obese dogs.
Right.
They need all these specialty foods because you fed them this crappy dog food.
Yeah. It's just like humans. It's just like humans. You know, the crazy thing with that whole story is it's just like people are like, cereal, that's like dog food for humans, basically. But actually, the whole dog food thing came about from cereal and like Kellogg's. It's crazy, because dog food used to be in tins and cans. And then World War II, they had rations. So they're like, how can we make dog food and put it in a paper bag? Oh, I know, let's just feed them like we do humans. We can over process the food. The crazy thing with the dog food is, though, they don't have some of the same restrictions. So there's restrictions on human food baggage, like how many forever, this is just crazy that this is even a thing. How many forever chemicals can we allow humans in their packaging? They don't have that for dogs. So there's all sorts of crazy things like that for dogs. It's really nuts. But to your point, like with the diarrhea and stuff, you mentioned this, Aaron, it's so true that's one big difference is on carnivore, it's all about getting fat for humans. It's different for dogs. They need less fat. So there's some really good websites. I think on Carnivore, Larry, he gets into it too about getting the ratios and stuff.
There's calculators for the weights of dogs and all that stuff.
Yeah. I think here's another comment from Jen. Zach, Sean Baker, MD Podcast says, feed dogs lean meat. They don't need the fat like humans, but do your research. Take care. Your dog is going to love you even more with a carnivore diet. Yeah. Someone said to me too, they're like, aren't you going to cook the food? And I was like, well, if you really think about it, like, a dog in the wild, is it going to catch a squirrel and then start a fire and then cook the squirrel? It's like, no, it's just going to eat it, bones and all. It's going to eat everything. It's so weird how we get so far away from things.
My dog would catch the squirrel, then have no idea what to do with it.
Right. Yeah. Kill it and just set it by the door. Look what I did. Yeah. Question from Susan. Hey, Aaron, before I watched the playlist of 60 days, did you add cheese, raw milk, or fish sometimes?
No. But I have on the carnivore diet, I've experimented with cheese, no raw milk. And for a while, I was doing fish Fridays. After my first year, I added fish Fridays. I'd have salmon or shrimp on Fridays. Why? Just because. Just change it up a little bit. I call it Fish Fridays because they both started with F.
Right.
Yeah, but I found out that cheese for me causes inflammation. And so my joints would start hurting, that kind of stuff. So I steer away from it, but I still like cheese. So sometimes I'm like, I'll have a little bit and expect the pain, and it's still worth it. Just here.
Calculated risk.
Yeah, it's just, but I really have had to just cut it out because I realized it's not that worth it. And then I was telling my mom about it. She said, oh yeah, when you're a kid, you're lactose intolerant. Like you couldn't eat the formula and all this stuff. Like you're allergic to cheese. I'm like, thanks for telling me now that I'm 45 years old.
Right.
I didn't know this. So
come on, Mom.
I'm sitting here suffering all these years, and it's because I'm allergic to cheese.
Yeah.
Something in the cheese.
There's something, I'm telling you, if I looked at like all the comments I've gotten over the last year, one of the big ones is people are like, I stalled out on carnivore. And this is earlier on. One of the doctors or someone, I heard them say this, like, well, try cutting out the cheese and see what happens. And so that's my just go-to reply every time now. And every time I do that, there's like 50 comments under it where they're like, yep, I was on carnivore, I stalled. It was the cheese, I stopped, and weight loss started happening again, or inflammation went away. It seems like I think there's a lot more people in the world that have different levels of maybe on the spectrum of lactose intolerance that don't realize it, or something going on there.
So yeah, the cheese or heavy cream.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'll be a slippery slope.
Right. Michael, hey gang, new carnivore here. Just started Monday. I'm down 7 pounds
Wow.
after spending 6 years in a bed. My box of pills is bigger than Carrie's. Great to be here. Awesome. Welcome. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for gifting the 10 memberships too. That's pretty awesome.
Wow.
Andrew Garcia, what's the best thing for fatigue? Only worry I have.
I find if I wake up and I drink some salt water can help. That's one thing that I had a coach tell me is like, are you salting your water? I said, no. It's like, salt all your water. I was like, all your water? It's like, yes, salt all your water. And it has really helped with me, but then I still forget to do it sometimes. But fatigue for me is I'm either need to drink some salt or I need to eat more food. I could, you can still undereat on a carnivore diet because we get it in our minds that it's a diet, but it's a lifestyle. Like we're limiting it for certain goals. And sometimes I think we'll hurt ourselves by not eating enough.
Right.
I'll eat more and then I'll lose weight again because my body is in a less stressed state.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. I was gonna say the same thing. My buddy, Jeff, on a journey to be cancer free, he does a 5-day fast. He just hit his 40th every other week, 5 days of not eating anything. And he does the same thing Aaron just mentioned. I think every morning he gets up and with his water, he puts some Redmond salt in. And he's like, instead of just having a big glass, he'll just do like a shot. It's just like, he's like, it's ocean water. Just get it over with. And I haven't really had many issues with fatigue other than when I was doing some fasting stuff, and that helped every single time. It's amazing how fast it'll help too. It seems to work pretty darn quick a lot of times.
Actually, the last time I did a 72-hour fast, I was like, I felt better 3 days in without food. I mean, I still wanted to eat food, but I was like, dude, I'm like, I was like, I had so much energy.
Isn't it weird? Yeah. So Jeff, he had to do a 5-day one. I'm like, I'm going to do it with you. So I did a 5-day with him. And by the end of it, it was so much easier because when I was on the standard American diet, I tried fasting before. It was hard. It's not as hard on carnivore because you're already in ketosis if you're doing carnivore, right? So you don't have to get over that hump. But yeah, by the end of it, like, how do I have all this energy? I haven't eaten anything. I'm only drinking water every day with a little bit of salt here. There is crazy. All right, let's see. We got a couple more questions here. Susan says, "Love your realness, Aaron."
Thank you, Susan. She watches all my videos.
She is the best. She's awesome. She's got to be like a power commenter. She's so supportive, always leaving good comments across all the channels. Andrew's asking, thanks so much for that. Any supplements besides salt to taste?
I mean, I've experimented with supplements. I tried like a K2 thing just because I have coronary artery disease because I got that CAC score. And it came back like 122. And then someone on here suggested I try like a D3 K2 thing. So I've tried that. I can't remember the last time I took one though, but I have some beef liver pills because beef liver is like, and so I'll take those every once in a while. Does it do anything? I have no idea, but people suggest things. So I just try it.
Yep.
But nothing. I'm trying to think. I keep forgetting to take my D vitamins, which I always get lower in the winter, but I keep forgetting to take them. So I'm just not in the habit of taking them every day. So that's it for me.
You and I are on the exact same page. I got those beef pills, the liver pills. Do you eat liver or any of the weird organ meats or anything?
I've had liver. I don't hate it as much as I used to when I was younger, but it's still, yeah, there's something about it. It's like, just gets me sometimes. So
I've never cooked it. I had it once. A company sent me some burgers that were mixed up with it, and that was really good. I didn't have
Yeah.
to think about it. A friend of mine gave me a beef liver, and I got it in the freezer. It's been sitting in there for 4 or 5 months now. Just like I don't know how to cook it. So I take those liver pills, and just like you with the vitamin D pills too, I keep forgetting to take them.
The thing is, I had baked liver poorly cooked once, and it just like I just remember that. But I've raised rabbits for years, so I have like rabbit livers
Yeah,
that I'll throw in when I'm grinding meat sometimes, and just
nice.
have some of that in there, just because then I don't taste it. But rabbit livers or chicken livers are not as potent as a beef liver.
Mm. Hey, it's our buddy Brett. Who's your carnivore? I smoked a tomahawk tonight. OMG, probably my best yet. How can anyone say carnivore is boring? Yeah, every time I eat a steak, I think that. Not bored yet. Still not bored. Brett is awesome. We're doing a meetup here at the movie theater on
The
March
night
9th. Yeah. March 9th, and Brett's coming up for it, which is amazing. He came to the Chicago meetup we did with Dr. Hampton too, so that's going to be pretty awesome. I think I saw Sherry in the comments too. She's local. I think she's going to be coming by too. So I'll have to put a link in the description. I haven't officially announced it yet, I guess, but I'll have to put a link in the description. It should be fun. Dr. Tony Hampton is going to be there.
I saw something today about it.
Yeah. I think I sent an email out about it or something. I can't remember. I was going to I've been intending to do a video just to kind of officially announce it, but yeah, if anyone's interested, it's going to be, we're not charging anything. It's completely free. I think it's going to be kind of cool, Aaron, because like we do a lot of these live streams, the 24-hour live stream, it's always kind of preaching to the choir. Everyone's carnivore already. But for this event, there's going to be carnivores coming, but there's also just individuals that are maybe experimented with keto, or maybe they have mental health issues or type 2 diabetes. They just like, what is this proper human diet thing? I want to learn more. So Dr. Hampton, we're going to have him on the big screen. It's going to be really cool. Fill the seat up. He's going to stream, but he's going to be on the big screen. He's going to be able to see the audience. The audience will be able to see him. Audience can ask questions, or people online can ask questions. Hopefully, this is the plan in my head. And I'm like, I should probably test all this out and make sure this is, God forbid the internet goes out that day. I don't know what we're going to do, but we'll have to come up with a plan B. Who's your carnivore? Sub to the Kilby Life. Yeah, 100%. Raquel, I think I'm saying that right. Hi, Carrie. Do you drink anything other than water, like unsweetened tea, etc.? No, I'm very boring. I was never a coffee drinker. I was addicted to diet soda for years. I used to go to the gas station right across the street, started off with the little diet Mountain Dew, and then would get the bigger one, and then get one like it's like a gallon, and then I'll be like, oh, it's been a couple hours. I go back and get 2 of those a day, but yeah, I just drink water now. Nothing else for me. What about you, Aaron? Anything else besides water?
So yeah, I mean, I've gone back and forth with coffee. I've quit it, got back on, quit it, got back on, and it's just been kind of but like black coffee. I was doing cream, but I had to cut out the cream because that would stall progress. But water, I've actually like experimented with some of the flavored like element electrolytes and stuff after a while, especially in the summertime. But I gave up all my energy drinks. I haven't had a Red Bull in 2 years almost.
Nice.
And I used to pound those things down like crazy.
Right.
So
have you turned into like a water snob, or can you tell the difference between different types of water, or you're like, I got to have this one?
The water that comes out of my fridge is better than the tap. I know that much.
Yeah.
Not really. I just, as long as it's cold and it's wet,
right,
I'm pretty good.
Toby's carnivore question: did BBEE for January accept coffee? While I drink coffee black. I don't know if that's a question or not. Did BBE for January? Yeah, I don't know if that was a question, but maybe rephrase it if it was, because I don't see the question in there.
Yeah, so I technically have failed my challenge because I started drinking a little bit of coffee again because I was going to give it up for the whole 60 days. So
right,
not perfect.
You gotta turn in your carnivore card now.
Yeah, I mean, again, yeah.
Oh, here we go. Getting some advice from Patrick. Just eat fruit, rice, starches, and exercise outdoors regularly.
Okay. I mean,
all right. Let's do it. You want to do a 60-day challenge, Aaron? Fruit, rice, starches?
Yeah, I'll just might as well just invite diabetes back into my house.
Right.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yep. Yeah. I got a couple of these left, so I'll just have to start taking some of those again. I always find that funny. I don't know if you get that comment, but I've had that one a few times where people are like, you would have done the same thing if you just ate fruit and eliminated that junk food and the processed stuff. Could have had vegetables and fruit. And I'm like, no, because actually I pretty much tried that before. I did keto for like a year where it was salad for lunch, salad for dinner, some stupid low carb vegetables like broccoli or cauliflower, like a little piece of chicken. I'm like, that's pretty much plant-based. That's pretty much like 90% plant-based other than a little piece of chicken because I was too scared to eat meat because I was told it would clog my arteries. I was miserable. I was still on all those pills and I was still depressed and I was still anxious and I still had IBS and I was still snoring, all of those things. So
I mean, I've probably earned some metabolic health back somehow over all this time, and I probably could have some of that stuff without much issue, maybe every once in a while or something. But what's the point? It led me down a place that I didn't like going. Yeah. So I'm not. I watched a video once where a guy ate a Snickers bar and did his blood work, and then he ate a banana like the next day, and the banana raises glucose more than the Snickers bar did. So fruit is, I'm not going to mess around with my glucose spiking. I am not doing it. It's not healthy. It's not good for me. I don't need it.
I did this video a while ago and some people got mad, but I don't really care. It makes me mad that, and I just get mad about things because I'm a grumpy old person now. I don't know, but that vegans can say, I'll never eat meat again. But I said this on a video. I'm like, I'm never eating fruit again. I'm never eating vegetables again. I just decided I'm not going to do it. And I got pushback from carnivores. They're like, you're making us look bad. That's too extreme. You can't say that. And my argument for fruit is kind of like yours, Aaron. It's full of sugar. And people keep saying this to me too. Well, in the Bible, it says this. Yeah. And my argument back is the fruit that is mentioned in the Bible does not exist on this planet. It's been changed so much and engineered. Like you look at an apple now, it's like this big. There used to be a little crab apple on a tree. It's like designed to be sugar.
My friend, the grains are processed. It's not even the same stuff.
Yeah. And then when you get into the vegetables, because if I were to eat anything, I guess vegetables, well, what about those? When I interviewed Ken Berry, I'm like, man, you scared me away from this stuff even more than I was already. But there's so many pesticides, herbicides, glyphosate, and now in the pesticides, there's forever chemicals. Mm-hmm. And I was watching it's this YouTube stuff, watching these videos. Like you saw the thing on the banana and the Snickers bar. I saw this one where they were like, they took some vegetables and they juiced it, they extracted the juices, and then they analyzed it. And they're like, there's enough pesticides in here, we could just put it on other produce and it would still be effective. And humans are consuming that. It's like,
with the strawberries.
Yeah.
So I have it in my head. If I want to try anything, I would probably need to grow it myself because I've enjoyed growing vegetables that I went on a carnivore diet. I'm like, well, I enjoyed gardening, because I'm raising rabbits and I raise quail and a like little homestead, urban homestead thing.
Right.
But then I was like, well, I'm growing all this stuff, but I'm not eating it. This is lame. And then last year I was like, because the year before that, I was like, I didn't have any of it. Last year I was like, I'm going to try a couple green beans when I'm walking by, off the thing. I was like, this is okay. But I grew it and it was like just snacking. I was like, well, this seems natural, but it's also, it's potentially a slippery slope because I don't want to just go to the store and eat that stuff all the time because I already know where it led me.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the same way, slippery slope. And I was struggling with this too, because trying to define healing humanity, power of a proper human diet. I asked Ken Berry about this too. I'm like, proper human diet. I'm like, well, would that include vegetables from the store that are potentially full of chemicals and glyphosate and all this stuff? And in my head, I've redefined it as a proper human diet is eating foods that are natural for humans. So if you can grow it yourself in some healthy soil and it's not riddled with pesticides, go for it. Like that's great. But that was kind of my biggest realization. I'm like, it used to be like carnivores changed so much for me. I think it's just returning to what's natural and proper for humans. I think we've gotten so far away from what is natural, mainly with the foods we're eating, but everything else we're doing, it's like humanity's just getting sicker and sicker the further away we're getting from natural. And I think that a big part of it that gets a complete pass is produce, fruits and vegetables that have all these chemicals in them. And we're just like, I'm sure it's fine. I sprinkled some water on it under the sink. It's got to be fine. I'm like, it's inside the fruit. It's inside the interior. Is that So
yeah, I mean, I agree with the exercise outdoors regularly.
yeah,
It's
we'll
good
try that one. Good.
go for a walk or whatever. It doesn't have to be crazy. Get
Yeah.
some sun on your face at least.
Yes, 100%.
You look better tan.
Right. Hey, it's Bob Pop Eater. I had a bottle of Evian, and it's actually had a sweet taste compared to filter. Yeah, that's what I was saying about the water snob thing. I've noticed that too. When you get like one of these, what is it, the Fiji water or Fuji water or Evian, I can feel like I could taste the difference now. Probably because it's all I do is drink water. But yeah, I don't know. My tap water seems to be the best with some ice on it. I want for nothing more. Okay, it looks like we got one more question here from Brett. What was your biggest struggle starting Carnivore, and how did you get past it?
What was my biggest struggle? I guess not finding it sooner. I don't know. My biggest struggle. That's tough. I'm just trying to think what is really my biggest struggle. I don't know. Just I wasted a lot of time.
Yeah.
Just not knowing very much about food and nutrition and health and all that kind of stuff. I didn't know any of it. I just went with the flow. And I guess I beat myself up for that. And I guess that's been a struggle. But once I got on the diet, after I was a couple weeks in, I already felt the benefit. There was like, then what happened I kept like, oh crap, I'm not going to be able to stop this. And after my 90-day challenge, I was like, I'm not going to be able to stop this. And so I kind of was like, oh no. I was like, what have I done? It's like you go up to a cliff and you jump off into the lake and you're like, okay, I'm thinking while I'm falling still. This is not what I expected. There's too much time here. It's like, but there's no going back. And just that, for me, that was the scariest and the biggest struggle, just coming to the realization that my life is forever have to be changed. Right. I can't just do it for a short time and just put a Band-Aid on it. I have to change all the way down to the foundation of how I think and what I eat.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, whoa, this changes everything from this point forward. Yeah. I guess for me, the biggest struggle starting Carnivore, how'd you get past it? This is what I always tell people that are just starting. The first like week or two while you're getting adapted and you're getting over that sugar addiction, that is tough. And I always tell people, like, please don't think that this is Carnivore forever. That's just you getting over that sugar addiction. Once you get over that, oh my goodness, it's so much nicer. I don't have that anymore at all. I don't walk past a piece of candy or a birthday cake or something. I'm like, I'm fine. I don't have that anymore. But that first week or two while you're adapting can be really tough for people. Okay, a couple more questions came in here. I want to get Aaron's opinion on this one. Do you serve popcorn at the theater? Yes, I serve popcorn at the theater. Do I feel bad about it? Yes, I feel bad about it. I had a kid come in before, and he's like, what do you want? He got like a large Pepsi. I'm like, I've just felt horrible. Here's my argument. I get this comment from a lot of people. I'm a hypocrite. I'm a carnivore, and I'm talking about this, and I'm selling popcorn and candy at the movie theater. We sell grass-fed beef sticks. We sell pork rinds. I got special spring water I ordered that we've got up there as well. So we offer alternatives, and people have been taking it. But I still do sell popcorn, and I still do sell junk food, and I'm very torn about it, and I feel bad. If I stop selling it, the movie theater will go bankrupt. We're doing this as a passion project. We've run it for 1.5 years. We haven't made a penny. It's been in business since 1859. But my argument is I can't control other people. And if they want to smoke cigarettes, I could say, don't smoke cigarettes. They're still going to do it. If they want to drink alcohol, they're going to do it. If I stop selling popcorn, the movie theater is going to go out of business, and they're just going to go down the road and get popcorn somewhere else. I'm hoping that they will see our example, Aaron's example, examples from the documentary, and decide to eat like I do and go over to the gas station and get some hard-boiled eggs or eat some pork rinds or something. But I don't know. I'm really torn on it. I don't know. Aaron, what do you think on that? Am I a complete hypocrite? And what would you be doing? I don't know. I don't have a good answer.
We're all hypocrites, and anyone that gives you a hard time about it has no idea what they're talking about because they don't have an answer. They're wrestling too. And they're like, just pointing at you. What if the person only eats popcorn once a year?
Yeah.
And they want to go to the one movie or eat some popcorn. Is that okay?
Right.
We can't be the moral police for everybody.
Yeah.
We can lead by example, and not eat popcorn, but you don't know. So I would say don't worry about it. There's probably some things that are probably gray areas, like popcorn and some of the drinks and stuff like that. But there are plenty of things that you're not selling also that are no go. I guarantee that. So
Right.
I know exactly what that's like because I've ran a thrift store for almost 20 years. So I see lots of stuff, and it's like, well, I have a guy. He's like, I don't want to put out these things because I don't like Twilight. Like, okay. Well, the amount of thing you don't like Twilight stuff because you don't like vampires, so you don't want to sell vampire stuff at our thrift store. Okay. But
Right.
some people like Twilight, so I don't sell nudie magazines. Okay, I don't do that.
Right.
But some of the other romance novels, borderline. But you can't moral police everyone. Everyone's going to have a different flavor or what they think is okay. So I don't know. That's the fact that you're wrestling with it means you care. So that's good enough for me.
Yeah. I'm hoping we can get to some day where we don't sell it anymore and we just have carnivore. Well, that's the problem though, is there's no carnivore snacks. So it's a real kind of conundrum. I heard Dr. Barry say this once, and I go back to Dr. Barry for everything. He's like, you can't change other people.
Yeah.
That's so true. Like, I've got family members that are suffering so bad. And I'm like, just eat this meat, just do this. They're never going to do it. But some of them have decided to change because they saw my example. So I'm putting my example out there. I'm putting YouTube videos out there. I'm doing a documentary. Hopefully they will follow my example. And like I said, it will literally close the movie theater down, and they're just going to go to the next. They're just going to go down the road and get popcorn. They have to decide themselves. I don't want to eat popcorn anymore. That's their decision. So,
yeah, I mean, it's like I like Coke. No, I like Pepsi. I like Coke. I like Pepsi. Like, you can tell someone, if you drink Pepsi, I will give you $100 million and all your dreams will come true. I don't drink Pepsi. I only drink Coke. Like, okay, well then you do you and I'll do me, and we'll just live in harmony. You can't please everybody.
Right. Yeah, there are carnivore snacks that are expensive. Yeah, we looked into that too. There was like carnivore crisps, I think. This stuff was like, it was like $30-$40 a bag. Like this bag, I'm like, that's not gonna work out. And I don't know, but we do have grass-fed beef sticks that are really clean if you're doing keto. I don't eat them because they've got some spices in them, and I'll lose my carnivore card. I don't want to lose my carnivore card, but they're pretty darn good. We got pork rinds that are carnivore approved. So, yeah. As you guys could tell, though, I definitely am torn about it for sure. So,
some alternatives. Oh, and put in a butcher shop. That'd be good.
Right. I've been thinking about bacon though. I'm like, so when we have the meetup, the whole nothing's going to be in there except grass-fed beef sticks and pork rinds. I'm like, can we do bacon? Wow. I'd have to get like a weird health license or something.
The government will have a say in all that. It's like, oh, it should be this easy. Like, no, it's not, because that food is like good for you, and regulate it.
Some of Bill Knott's ribeye wrapped bacon in the air fryer. Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah, I just always think beef jerky. I've make my own beef jerky with just salt and beef, and to me, it's the most amazing thing ever. Just it doesn't need to be fancy.
Yeah. Oh,
but my taste will change too.
Yeah, I wonder that too, because like everything I eat now, I'm like, oh, it's so good. Every steak, every meat, everything. I'm like, oh, the bacon's incredible. I almost wonder if my tastes are completely different. Someone else eats it and they're like, huh? I don't care though. It works for me. I'll just keep doing it. Aaron, have you ever had oxalate dumping?
I think so. I call it the boogeyman because it's like this little mystery thing that's in your joints and your body, and if you don't eat oxalates, you're going to have oxalate dumping and be in pain. I don't understand. I know Sally Norton knows a ton of it, but I just call it the boogeyman because I think I have, but I'm not sure, because I still get joint pain from sometimes, and so I don't know. And they say, like, what do? You just have to, it'll last in your system for 10 years sometimes, or eat a little piece of dark chocolate every day to like give yourself a little bit of oxalate so that you don't dump. I've heard all these things about it, and so I'm not sure, and I call it the boogeyman.
Right.
Because I don't know enough. I have no idea. People are scared of it. Some people swear that it's happening, and I just don't know.
Yeah, same thing for me too. The biggest thing I'm scared of are those what is that tick that you could get bitten from and then you can't eat meat
Oh,
anymore.
yeah.
That keeps me up at night. But yeah, the oxalate thing I don't think I've had it. I don't know, but yeah, I've worried about it. I hear so many stories from people about it, but not sure I've experienced it. So let's see. I think we got one more question. Question for Carrie from Carrie. Wondering if you ever got your heart rechecked for the AFib you had. No, I haven't yet. I am hoping to soon. I'll make a long story short. I was scheduled to go in I'll make it a little bit longer. Aaron, I had an irregular heartbeat since I was born.
Okay.
And it stopped it's like a couple months into Carnivore. My wife and I were watching a movie. She had her head on my chest. She's like, your heart isn't beating weird anymore. I didn't have AFib though. That's different. That's a lot worse. I just had an irregular heartbeat that stopped. I was supposed to go in to answer your question, Carrie. I was supposed to go in December. I had an appointment. It was scheduled like 3 months out. I hate going to the doctor, but I was going to go. I wanted to get my heart checked to see. I also have congestive heart failure. I have a low ejection fraction. I don't know if any of that has changed on Carnivore. I can only tell you before Carnivore, I would stand up and I was dizzy and I was fatigued all the time. Now I feel like I could stand up and I could do pull-ups and I could run a marathon. So I feel like some of that has improved. I've heard the heart performs better when you're in ketosis. So I'm hoping it's improved. I'm so mad about this. I went into the doctor for the scheduled appointment that was like 3 months out. And I got there and they're like, oh, he's not here now. We tried calling you. We couldn't get a hold of you. We rescheduled it for January 4th or something. And I'm self-employed. So we literally pay thousands of dollars. And just going from the end of December to January 4th is like, I have to pay for the whole thing out of pocket because I don't have the deductible med anymore. So I haven't gone in yet. I've been procrastinating, but my wife Jen has been searching around and try to change our insurance up. I'm hoping it's I don't need to go in. I feel incredible. So it's like, if it was like, oh, I need surgery or something, of course I would go in. It's just more so I could know, but I really do want to know, but then I don't want to spend $4,000 to just find out like, yeah, dude, you're doing great. Your heartbeat's fine. And that's going to probably be what they say. So I'll definitely let you guys know if I go in there and get it checked out. In any case, I hope to go in and get a bunch of blood work done, which I'm not doing through my doctor. I'm doing through a separate lab. So I'll be sharing that. What about you, Aaron? Have you done any blood work or tests or anything like that? And
Man, I've been through the ringer. So yeah. I'm one of those people that as soon as I went on the carnivore diet, my cholesterol went up like over 500.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Because they're like, you are going to die. And I'm like, well, I feel great. I've never felt better. Your cholesterol's high. You're going to die. But hey, I don't have diabetes. And my triglycerides are way down. And my HDL is going up. And all these other markers. And they're like, you need a statin. You're going to die. And so Dr. Barry, hey, these are my numbers. He's like, just continue what you're doing. You're fine. It's like, are you sure? But I've been wrestling with it this whole time because, and then I went and got a CAC score. Then I got a little bit of coronary artery disease. And I'm like, oh, look, you're going to die. And it's like, well, I guarantee that's from eating poorly and drinking and smoking for years. You know, I haven't smoked in 20 years, but, and, you know, I was a wild young man. I was very wild. And I lived on the streets for a brief time also, but it's like, yes, I've got some tests done and I've had to wrestle through a lot of this stuff. It hasn't been all perfect. So I'm fighting like conventional wisdom when it comes to the specifically LDL cholesterol.
Right.
And I wish it would just be 200 and well, that's high and you're gonna no, it's like 500. So
right. Well, and now they have these studies coming out. So it's like, God, it's so hard. You got to be your own sort of researcher and figure this stuff out yourself.
I think I know more than my doctor does about it because at this point I challenged my doctor and I've looked for other doctors. I'm having a hard time. My doctor thinks I'm an idiot. Okay. But I'm challenging what he's saying and I'm trying not to give up on him. But he's like, he sees a threshold, then he recommends the medication. And last time he's like, you have to take the statin. I was like, I'm not taking the statin and I'm going to try to fix it with diet. I don't think it's necessary. He's like, well, I don't want you to sue me when you have a heart attack and die. He's like trying to get me afraid of the heart attack and dying. You know, you got a wife, you got a lot of kids. I'm like, and then you leave there just feeling like trash.
Yeah.
But I also realized I'm like, I think I might know more than my doctor when it comes to this because I've had to do some research because I don't want to die. And I have to wrestle heart disease, diabetes. What one would I rather die from? Well,
Right.
diabetes, I had loved ones that died from it. When I started this diet, one of my friends lost a toe like a week later. I'm like, if that's not a sign, because he had an A1C of 12. I didn't even know what an A1C was, but now I feel like I know more than my doctor about these things because I'm paying attention, I'm wrestling, I'm watching things on YouTube, and I'm fighting for my health. That's what I was saying. I took a step of faith, and now I'm running with it. Move out of my way.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I've wrestled with all those things, and
Yeah. Yeah. It's so tough. I was on statins for a few years. I don't know what it is with the statins too. It's like there's such this urgency. Everyone I talk to, like, yeah, they're like, you got to get on statin, you got to do it, you got to do it. And then you hear some of the studies. Obviously, there's different levels depending on what you have, but just someone like minorly over it. I think what was it? Dr. Chafee was talking about this study, or Dr. Barry, where yeah, if you take a statin every single day for like, I'm gonna screw this up, whatever he said, but it was something like this. I'm misquoting him, but you take it for every day for 30 years and you don't miss one time, it'll extend your life by 5 days.
yeah, that was on Joe Rogan. I heard it's like I thought it
What?
was like 4 or 5 days. You're like, and Joe Rogan said, "What if those were just really good days, though, man?"
Right. Yeah. 5 days. And that's like, my dad's been on these things forever. He's trying to get off them. He's like, he has all these side effects from them. So it's like 30 years of side effects for potentially 5 days. And those are the known side effects he has. I'm like, what about the unknown side effects? There's always these unknown downstream effects you don't realize till after the fact, or interactions with other medication you're taking for
And
5 days.
and they're known to cause type 2 diabetes and Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
So I'm choosing this path for right now. And you know, my dad's been on statin again for saying 20, 30 years. I'm just like, I'm just not doing it.
Yeah. I could see your doctor so frustrated. Like, I'm not doing it. Not gonna do it.
Well, I'm a really, you know, I'm a pretty nice guy. I try to be reasonable, but then it's like I went to a cardiologist and she was the meanest person ever in my life. She's like, you need to do this, you need to do this, you're dying. And I'm like, look at me. I'm not that. I don't look like I'm dying anymore.
Right.
I literally just ran 2 miles and lifted weights and came in here and do this doctor's appointment. And because my LDL cholesterol is high, then I'm dying. Okay. And then they like try to tell you, like, if you don't do it, you're gonna leave your wife and kids, and like, oh. But then there's a part that, but there's always that part of me that's like, am I making the wrong decision?
Yeah.
And so anyone that goes on a diet like this, you might have, like, I wasn't expecting to have this challenge when it came to mentally preparing for higher cholesterol than normal, like normal high, like double what someone would say. I got double LDL cholesterol than Ken Berry has, which someone else would say his is high. Mine's double that. So I've had to wrestle through this. There's going to be challenges and things you're going to have to wrestle through in your health, but go for it. I feel like I'm learning, and I'm a lean mass hyper responder or a hyper absorber or whatever it is, but I know I haven't felt better in a long time.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. What you're saying reminds me of you take your car in for an oil change, and the guy's like, the frame shot. It's going to be $5,000. Oh, you're okay driving home with your family in the car like that? You're gonna kill your whole family. Okay, well, go ahead. I tried to warn you. It's kind of like that thing, and then you look at it, you're like, it's nothing more. You're supposed to change the oil. Like, what are we doing here? There's nothing even wrong with it. And it's such a tough thing. It's such a, like, for all of us, it's a tough thing. And then not to keep bringing it back, with my buddy Jeff, with the going through stage 4 cancer, trying to figure out all this stuff himself with metabolic therapy and fasting, and he's doing hyperthermia and cold plunges, and he's like, all of this stuff he's figuring out by himself, and he's all alone. He's like, but he feels better than he has his entire life. He feels like he's 20 years old, and he's just absolutely thriving. But yeah, most of his doctors would say, you're doing the wrong thing. You should be doing this instead. You should be doing that instead, kind of thing.
Well, I lost a friend a few years ago that did what the doctor said.
Yeah.
At 30 years old.
I mean,
and I think about it sometimes. If I wish I would have been able to say, okay, stop eating the sugar, stop eating like, let's do some things. And at least, do I know if anything was going to be different? Not sure, but that's one of those things that keeps me passionate.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's like if I would have done I believe doctors mean well, and I believe there's a place for them, but some of them are just so messed up. Like the ones that are giving you this advice, like you're going to die if you do this. Like, well, why didn't you ask me what I was eating when I came in? Every single one of these pills was just what I was eating. And these are pills from like 10 different specialists and doctors for sleep apnea, for depression, for anxiety, for acid reflux, IBS, arthritis in my foot. It was all just food, and none of them asked me. So right there alone, that's kind of my qualifier now. It's like, why didn't you ask me what I was eating? If I take my dog into the vet, yes, what are you feeding the dog? It's
that's it right there. The vet will always ask, what are you eating, or what is the animal eating? For humans, that's not even the medicine a lot of doctors practice.
Yeah.
That's not it. They're like, what are your symptoms? We'll treat the symptom. It's like allopathic medicine. That's what they're trained in. That's what you're going to get. You're not going to get holistic training. You're not going to get outside the box thinking a lot of the times. It's literally this. And unfortunately, a lot of them have to do it or they'll lose their jobs, their insurance, their practices, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's so backwards. It's basically like, let's skirt around the root cause of the problem and try to give you a temporary Band-Aid that in reality is probably not going to help you at all. Maybe it'll be a little temporary relief for you. But that was the thing with the documentary. Someone said, like, if you could get one message across at the end or change one thing, that would be it. It's like, if you're going into the hospital or the doctor, it's probably your nutrition. You should be thinking about what you were eating. And your doctor's not going to help you with that. Most of the time, your doctor's not going to help you with that. Yeah. Wow. All right, man. This has been great. We're already at an hour and a half. Let's see if I got any other questions. Are you okay now? So I didn't even realize we were going this long. I don't know how much time you had, Aaron.
Well, I'm good.
Okay. I think we got all the questions. So, huge shout out, Aaron. Thank you so much for doing this. This is great. I love what you're doing. I love your channel. Again, anyone watching from my channel, link in the description below for Aaron's channel. Go subscribe. Trust me, you'll thank me. It's been a lot of fun. Do you have anything else you want to mention or shout out?
Well, I mean, if they're disappointed, it's not your fault. It's my fault.
Right. Blame him if you don't like it.
I mean, I'm just humbled and just thankful that you asked me to come on here and that you were watching the videos. And some days I'm just wrestling. Is it worth it? If it's not worth it. But I know it's worth it. You know, I've experienced life change, and I remember I just watched this again. I just wrote it down. I didn't know what I needed to do, but I knew I had to do something. It was burning inside of me as a husband, as a father, just a human being. I have to do something. And I did not know what to do. I didn't know who to turn to for help. I didn't know what to do. And I went on the most ridiculous diet I've ever heard of in my life, the carnivore diet. And I found the nutrition and the health that I was looking for. And it set me on a health journey for me to pursue and take hold of and be my advocate and learn and be a better person. And I want that for anyone that's struggling. Like, if you feel like you got to do something, give it a shot.
Yeah.
It has helped me, and you find your own way, take that step. And yeah, I did something, and I think I'm going to live.
That's awesome. Well said. Yeah. Listen to that intuition. If you're thinking there's something wrong with my body, there's something, because no one's going to do it for you. That's one of the things. There's people out there that are like, can you help me? Like, what do I got? It's like, you got to make that decision. It's a hard decision for people to make, but you got to take control of things, use your own two hands. But yeah, it starts with listening to that intuition. You know, there's something wrong and you got to do something about it.
Yeah. They're shouting out Dave Feldman and Nick Norwitz, all that stuff. I have to watch that stuff. I mean, I could just eat Oreos, lower my cholesterol just like that.
Right. Yeah. I'm so happy that those guys are digging into that stuff more. And I think Dr. Baker is too, with his Rivero stuff. Yeah. Good stuff. Hopefully there's a lot more of that. That's one of the biggest arguments against carnivore. Oh, why aren't there more studies? Because if you do what Aaron does, and you just eat meat and you get healthy, there's no money to be made, and studies cost millions of dollars, and they're usually biased, and they're usually funded by a pharmaceutical or a cereal company or something. There's not a lot of money to be made on carnivore, but some people are digging into these things more and finding stuff out for us. So it's promising.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, thank you so much, Aaron. This has been great. If you ever need anything, let me know. I love what you're doing over there, and you're inspiring a lot of people. It's awesome. So thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining and leaving all the great comments too. Bye.